Hi guys, welcome back to another video. And guys, this video I'm taking you on a tour. It's not really a tour, but I'm just taking you along with me today. I'm going to Ottawa. We're going to Parliament Hill. I think it's lobby day, and yeah, I'm just taking you guys along so that you can see what your union is up to, and just to keep you guys up in the loop, or just to keep you guys in the loop. Okay, anyways, I'm just about to leave out now to the airport. So once I'm there, or you know what, I'll just keep you posted. See you later. And this is part of the gang that will be going.
Excited for the next 3 days.
Are you? What are the questions you're gonna ask?
I'm not sure yet, I'm not one of those that can answer on a whim. So I'm going to have a hard time as long as I have Mike Kelly on my side.
Very funny. How about you, Lisa?
The questions I'm going to ask?
Yes. Do you have any? At least throw me one.
Okay, so one question I'd like to ask, depending who the question's to,
Yeah.
is have they ever spent any time in a long-term care home, and why?
And if they say no, you'll ask them?
Yeah, I would actually like to open an invite to them to come and spend a whole shift with me.
Shadowing you? Or
Shadowing
anyone?
me. Shadowing me.
You'd give them the hardest part
I'd
of
give
it.
them the hardest part of the job. I'd see if they can get a resident up that's a two-person in 15 minutes and get them up out of bed, dressed, washed, brush their hair, brush their teeth, and get them in the dining room in 15 minutes.
So your classification is you're a PSW?
I'm a PSW.
One question you'll be asking on the Hill.
How do they feel about our public dollars constantly going to private companies for profit and while not supporting healthcare?
Oh my God, did you hear that, people?
Hey, that's a good one. I'm glad I'm in your team, Jake.
So Jay,
Yes.
so Jay, who will you direct that one to?
Well, if I get the opportunity to Mr. Ford himself, but we know he's too busy paying off his private company donors to have time for a simple civil servant like myself. So I'll direct it towards Matthew Green if I get the chance.
So hi people, this is Christoph. I'm sure you remember him from the political segment I did. So Christoph, I want you to say hi to my people.
Hi everybody.
Christoph, so can you explain a brief bit on what does lobby in the government mean?
So I think specifically for healthcare workers, what lobbying the government means is bringing your experiences, your voices, what's working out and what needs to get done to get the system better to the people who are making these decisions, right? Because these politicians, be it MPs or senators or MPPs, every day they get, policy briefings and like these briefings from experts and political staff, but it's very rare that they hear from people on the front line, people who are actually doing the work and seeing how the system's working or not working. So lobbying is bringing your voice as a healthcare worker to the people who are in charge of making the system work.
Thank you. So Christoph, another question is, tell me, is there a specific time that you can lobby the government, and why now? Why this specific date and time?
It's a good question. The short answer is you can lobby your politician at any point, right? You can meet with your politicians at any point. There are certain periods of the year where they have what's called constituency week, where they're supposed to go back to their writings, and that's every third Thursday of the month and during the summer period. What's happening today is because SEIU is part of the Canadian Labour Congress, they've organized a day where union members from across the country come in and they organize these lobby meetings. unions. What's special about this lobby day for 2023, is that it's also the first ministers' meeting. So all the premiers are in Ottawa negotiating with the government on healthcare funding. So that's what makes today so special.
Can you explain briefly what the CLC means?
Sure. So the CLC is the Canadian Labour Congress. Think of it as an organization that brings unions together from across Canada and to share resources to come up with issues and campaigns that affect all working people in Canada. The CLC represents unions that represent 3.5 million Canadians, union members, and it's really, think of it as almost a union for unions, right? To bring people together, see what's going on in healthcare, in transportation, in industry, like for example, people who work for GM, and bring all the voices together and see what are the priorities for the labor movement in Canada.
So how effective is lobbying the government is? Can you give us a brief?
Sure. I mean, I think it's very important, very effective, right? Because, like I mentioned, a lot of politicians don't hear these stories every day. So while they see data and stats, to hear your frontline stories, to hear a healthcare worker talk about what it's really like on the front line, and to join that with a story that affects people on an emotional level is super important, because they have these huge list of priorities, and sometimes by someone telling them a personal story or a frontline story from what has happened in healthcare can really make a huge difference, because it connects with people on a personal level.
Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely.
En français, veuillez redresser le dossier de votre siège, rangez votre tablette et attachez votre ceinture. Les couloirs, les sorties de secours doivent être dégagés, et les bagages ainsi que les appareils électroniques portatifs. Your safety is our top priority. Please take a moment to watch our safety procedures video. At this time, headsets connected to a
Is it? So we're downtown Ottawa. This is right, Krista?
Sure, it is.
And this is the what? Delta Hotel? Look at all the press people inside. I don't know if you guys could see that, but there's a lot of press. It's gonna be a happening day today, tomorrow, and the next day.
Peux-tu aller à l'ascenseur, s'il te plaît? Après 2 ans, enfin, avoir une rencontre avec M. Trudeau, puis 2, d'avoir une proposition. Il nous a dit qu'il va déposer une proposition. Maintenant, on va voir le montant. On a demandé que ce soit une proposition sans condition. Donc, on va savoir ça demain. Puis nous, les premiers ministres, on se rencontre.
Hi.
Big brother John.
We're walking to training.
I gotta watch you, Kelly.
I'm trying to capture the moment.
Try not to get Something like that. Kelly, yes. But you're Jade.
Kelly, ready for this?
Oh, he's on serious event, guys.
Yeah.
Can I get a hell yeah? And if you think that the boss's practice of putting worker against worker through the use of scat labor, can I get a hell yeah? This is absolutely awesome, folks. Look around this room. A bunch of us don't know each other. A bunch of us have never met. But we are all here for one common purpose. And that is to give voice to working people in this country. Tomorrow, all right. Tomorrow, when we roll onto Parliament Hill, we are rolling deep. As Bea mentioned, this is our largest lobby day that we have ever had. 403 participants.
Good to see you. Hi. Okay. Okay, everyone. Purple and proud, get in here.
Yes.
Purple, loud and proud. Purple, loud and proud. She's so good. We were about to bring her to this, but then my wife.
Kelly, you're in the group.
All right. Here we go. Here video because they're.
Oh, okay. Just take a picture. Take a picture. Yeah.
Okay, ready?
1, 2, 3.
Got it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Workers.
Yes.
Hi, Mr. Singh. Can you say hi to SEIU?
Yes, with great honor. I want to say a big what's up, shout out to all the SEIU healthcare workers. Thank you for everything you do. We believe in you. We're fighting for you. You deserve respect and dignity, and we're going to get you it.
What are you saying to the healthcare workers that are housekeeping, dietary, and activation who didn't get a raise?
That every single person who works in healthcare deserves equal respect. Every one of you contribute to our healthcare system, and every one of you deserves to have equal treatment when it comes to good wages, good respect, working conditions, and we'll fight for that.
Essential workers.
Yes.
Thanks.
Yes.
We're gonna walk this
There
way.
There we go. So not so early, sir. I'll be right back. And then we're this is Jackie. Hi guys, this is Jackie Gaines. Jackie, say hi to my viewers.
Hi, viewers. Okay.
And what do you do at SEIU?
Organizing staff.
What does that mean?
Come on out and let's go see Dougie.
Hi, friends of Kelly. Nice to meet you guys. I know a lot of you are from part of the SEIU. Unions rock. Union workers rock. I'm Doris. This is Dylan. I work for Member of Parliament Peter Julian. He is a House Leader for the NDP, and he's a MP for New Westminster Burnaby. I work in Ottawa, but I also work in Vancouver.
Yeah, I work for Randall Garrison. He's the Justice Critic and US LGBTQ critic. Just began the work with him. Great office to work in.
Great guy.
Is this your first time here?
First time at a CLC reception, yes. I'm amazed to see all these union activists. What you guys do for Canada, it's amazing. And without you guys, without workers, union workers, the whole economy, the whole society is just going to fall apart. So, great kudos to you guys for all your work.
Thank you.
am. My name's James, yeah.
James, say your full name, please.
James Pratt.
And James, what are you doing for the CLC?
I am an assistant to the president of the CLC, and I oversee our political action, our campaigns, government relations, and our regional offices across the country.
How long have you been doing this for, James?
Since 2015.
Since 2015. So do we have you to thank for all that we've gotten so far?
I'm very proud of the work of the labor movement over that time. We've been able to do some incredible things.
What do you think about the order that the government, Mr. Trudeau, offered today?
The healthcare money?
Yes.
I think there should be strings attached. I don't think that there are definitely a number of premiers in this country that we cannot trust with that money. I do not trust that Doug Ford is going to use that money in ways that's going to increase or improve our healthcare system in Ontario. I think he's going to use it for private care, and I'm worried he's going to take provincial money on it and spend it on things like tax cuts.
So do you agree that the government should hold them accountable and track that money?
Absolutely, and it should be with conditions.
How do you think, give me one way you think the government can track money to make sure that it goes into where it's supposed to?
Yeah, make it illegal to put a cent into a private system. That's one simple way. You cannot spend that money on private healthcare.
Thank you, James, so much for taking the time.
Wow, you really got me going there.
So my name's Jake Dale, and I'm proud RPN.
So can you, in one word, what did you thought of what Mr. Trudeau, the money that Mr. Trudeau gave the premiers today?
Inquisitive, and to expand on that is I want to see the actual fine print. He's throwing out all this money, what kind of strings are attached, how is it going to be actually used is what I'm curious about. So actually curious is a better word.
Would you say you're afraid in the sense that will the government do with the money what the intention of the money is meant for?
Yeah, you took the words out. I'm a bit afraid that the right thing ain't going to happen. The money's going to be pumped into the provinces and just end up right in the private donors' pockets at private hospitals and private agencies. And really it should go to the working class workers to provide the services for our Canadian citizens that we have at the moment.
So if you could say hold each premier accountable, what best would you say, what would a strategy be for the government to track where that money is being spent?
Be transparent, be extremely accurate on where you're going, make sure not a single dollar ends up into an agency. Hold them accountable. It's going to be tough. We got a lot of slippery premiers there, and we've got especially in Ontario, a provincial government that's showing zero respect for the healthcare system, has been actively trying to break it. So he's going to have to be very hands-on. I'm going to have to see some strong leadership from Mr. Trudeau and the federal government in ensuring that the public dollars end up where they're supposed to go.
So I know that you had meetings today with MPPs or MPs. What's your takeaway and how did you feel? Do you feel that you were listened to? Do you think that there will be any movement on your message?
So that's a great question. So today I actually met with two MPs. I met with a Liberal in the morning and a Conservative in the afternoon. The Liberal in the morning was actually from my riding up in Hamilton. She listened. We educated her. I got about 10-15 minutes about healthcare and hammer in the points on what they could do to ensure the proper transition to it. My afternoon meeting with the Conservative, Mr. Baldinelli, all respectful. You could tell the tone of the meeting was a lot different. You could tell that that our asks weren't really in their stratosphere of what they could do. They are the opposition party at the federal, but you could tell that the working class to him wasn't at the same level as the working class to the Liberal or some of the NDP MPs that we've met over the last few days in the hall. So it does show that there's really only one, maybe two parties that actually have the heart of the working class in their mind.
So how did that make you feel?
Confused, because the government and everybody in the government is supposed to be working for everyone, but by education SEIU's provided me and in my experience, politics do matter, and realities is it makes me want to fight a bit more harder. It makes me get their messaging across and get our way to change that we need, and that's going to be the struggle that we're going to have to do, but we're fired up, ready to go.
So you're at the end of your CLC Lobbying.
Yep.
How will you sum up your entire experience?
Wonderful. We were able to connect with the large labor force here, all the different unions who have different issues but a lot of similar issues. And by being here and seeing the change that can be accomplished, especially with the premiers and the Prime Minister's announcement today, it really needs to show, especially to the members of the healthcare industry as a wide, that politics are the decision makers for our industry. It was an amazing experience, and I can't wait to come back next year. But until I'm back next year, I'm going to be working every day to get our message and improve the working conditions for us healthcare workers.
So, with your experience, what is one thing that you would love to educate your members with today's experience?
Well, our employers and the people that pay our paychecks are the government. If they don't hear the actual issues, they're just a normal person working a big cushy job that pays them good money. So you need to write your MPs, your MPPs, which are your provincial representatives, and have meetings with them. Because once they actually hear your stories, that although they may be opposed to it at the beginning, the more and more you educate them, you just need to turn them a little bit to get your policies implemented. So that's the biggest thing I would like to see is our member base and our brothers and sisters and all the unions to write your MPs, write your MPPs, because they work for you and you need to make them earn that money.
So for the member who says, oh, I don't care to vote, what would you say to that member?
I tell them look at their paycheck, because that's really where it matters. And if they don't care to vote, then they're okay accepting the working conditions they're in. And if they're okay accepting the working conditions they're in, then we need to educate them, but they really shouldn't complain.
But politics don't matter.
Politics is the crux, is number one issue, because the policies and the purse strings are tied by the people in Queen's Park in Ottawa, in Toronto, and at Parliament Hill in Ottawa. And those are the real people that provide the funding for the healthcare system.
I want to thank you so much, Jake, for your time.
Anytime. And to Kelly Nation, make sure you hit and subscribe that like button down below. And for all these important healthcare messages, because she is a strong, powerful woman and a fighter for all the healthcare workers out there.
Thank you so much.
Vance Bataway, Member of Parliament for Niagara Centre and the Parliamentary Secretary for Indigenous Services Canada.
So, sir, how long have you been in your seat for?
I've been in my seat since 2015.
2015?
Prior to that, I was a mayor in the city of Port Colborne in Niagara for 14 years, dealing with a myriad of different healthcare issues, not only in Port Colborne, but throughout the entire region of Niagara.
So what do you think about our healthcare system after COVID?
Well, it's imperative that now we work together. It's all of us, all levels of government, organizations, and residents, quite frankly, that we park the politics, we park the partisanship, and sometimes the rhetoric that comes along with it, and work together to ensure that we learn from what we, quite frankly, experienced throughout the entire pandemic, and take what we learned, apply strategies, working together. Today, the Prime Minister made an announcement coming out of a meeting with the premiers of $198.6 billion. Now it's imperative that we take the transfers that are now going to go down to the provinces, we ensure that accountability is attached to the decisions that the provinces make. We work together and not only make plans and strategies for the entire nation from coast to coast to coast, but more importantly, that we work within individual regions to set those critical care pathways, the priorities, putting those forth as it relates to those that are pertaining to those individual regions. But once again, I can't impress enough upon how important it is that we work together to actually establish those strategies.
Sir, I know that healthcare is not a federal, so to speak, responsibility. It's a provincial responsibility, right? So I want you to tell our viewers, some of us, we cannot afford to buy bread or feed our kids or put clothes on our kids' back. Sir, what do you say to these members?
Well, frankly, we have to strengthen our universal healthcare system. We just announced dental, as well as other services that we're going to be looking at to be part of that universal healthcare system going into the future. It's 2023. So we've got to make sure that we strengthen our universal system. But what's most important is not only dealing with the what, which we're learning, especially post-pandemic, but also the how. And part of the how, it's our human resources. To ensure that our human resources, the doctors, the nurses, the medical professionals, as well as the PSWs, to ensure that they're taken care of so that therefore they can take care of the patients and those throughout the entire system who actually expect that equitable access to healthcare across this great nation.
What do you say to the laundry, the housekeeping, the dietary, the activation who feel that nobody remembers them, that like they're not a part of the healthcare working class? What do you say to them because they never see a dime?
Well, they're all part of the healthcare working class. It starts and ends with, yes, dietitians and endocrinology in terms of working with CHCs, community health centers, and family health teams and family health organizations, as well as the doctors and the nurses. And as I said earlier, those that work within long-term care facilities. We're all in. But as well, it includes all of us, the decision makers, at whatever level, the federal level, the provincial level, the municipal level, and as well the different organizations that are within our individual regions, to in fact ensure that we recognize what our priorities are across the country, but most importantly, to address those priorities. I always say that words motivate, but action inspires. And together, we can inspire by working together to ensure that those strategies are put in place and they're executed immediately so that therefore Canadians who deserve the health care receive the health care that they need across the country.
Sir, thank you for saying that. But if you should say get the seat for the premiere tomorrow, how would you deal with the staff and retention problem that we're facing in healthcare right now?
By working with you, learning from what we hear from you, and again, putting those strategies in place so that therefore, well, let's face it, at the end of the day, when you look at a lot of the challenges that we're running into, some hospitals closing temporarily, people not getting the services that they deserve, especially in long-term care homes, a lot of it is due to the challenges that we have with human resources. So that's the first layer that we have to deal with, to ensure that we have those resources available so that therefore we can actually satisfy the recommendations that come out of those very strategies that we're actually putting forward. So essentially, again, as I said earlier, it's about working together.
So you do believe in listening to the little people, the front line, because who feels it knows it, and who's experiencing it have knowledge of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, learn, and react accordingly.
Thank you so much, sir. Is there anything else you would like to say to my viewers in terms of you are the MP for Niagara? If you should take office tomorrow, what would you say to our SEIU members?
Bottom line, two things. One, thank you. Thank you for what you're doing. What you've done, what you're doing, and by all means, what you're going to be doing. But again, it's about working together, ensuring that we listen as those that make decisions that impact on you, that we listen, we learn, and we react accordingly. Bottom line, we work together. Now, especially after today's announcement by the Prime Minister, working with the premiers throughout the country, it's time to get to work.
What would you say to the general public that does watch my channel?
Well, once again, it's a matter of listening to the general public as well. Residents, those that need our services, that expect services, equitable health care across the entire country, universal public health care across the country to ensure that the services that you expect, you receive.
Thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to me, and I do want to say you are amazing, and I do hope one day you will be sitting in her office, and I for sure will definitely lobby, canvas for you, whatever it is that I need to do, you can count on me.
Well, we're with you. Let's get to work.
Thank you. So these are our SEIU members that represent you all today. So guys, and I'm going to go to Carla. Carla, you could state your name, say the seat that you're on, and tell me in one word, how would you sum up your day?
My name is Carla Slade. I am Region 2 representative for SEIU Healthcare.
day by saying babylicious.
Hi, I'm Stephanie, representative on SEIU Executive Board for Region 4. I will sum up my day by saying it was very interesting. In comparison, this is my second lobby day. My first lobby day was 10 years ago, and from 10 years ago to now, I see a big difference. I find that today's lobby day, they were more engaged, and the meeting was more meaningful. I feel that they were more in tune with us. They listened a lot more than they did 10 years ago. I wasn't rushed, and it was amazing.
Hi, I'm Kathy Bishop, and I am your Region 1 rep on the SEIU Executive Board, and I'm going to follow the instructions and sum up my day by saying it was amazing.
It was amazing. Is this your first CLC lobby day?
Yes, it was my first. Yeah. I did a provincial one before, so this is totally different. But
you would do it again. Would you do it again?
Absolutely, but I would love to do it with more SEIU members.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Give yourselves a round of applause. The beautiful thing about what you were able to do yesterday and today is get over whatever fears you have.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
To get over that, get in the game and just do it anyway.
Yes.
Right? And that's the biggest thing that I saw over the last couple of days is that transformation. And that's what you got to continue doing. Right? And we're going to continue to push you to transform yourselves in different ways. And so I'm really proud of everyone. You should be proud of yourselves. I talked to a few folks when I came to the reception, and all of them, the ones that I spoke to, all of them mentioned how great you all did in the meetings. We've got a lot of work to do, right? This is the beginning, right? We've got some training coming up. We've got our political action committee being formed. We've got the cross-province work. We've got the leadership academy coming up, right? So we've got to get ready. We got to get ready. We got
ready to go.
So, let's just shout out PSAC.
Sorry.
They're in bargaining right now.
Hell yeah!
Want to tell them a little bit about what you guys are going through?
Well, I mean, we're building up towards the strike at our treasury board tables. It's going to be the largest strike that we've built up to.
Can you move into the middle?
So right now at the SAC, at our big national treasury board tables, these are the main tables in the federal government under the treasury board and all the different departments. We are now about to go into strike votes starting at the end of February. For these workers, we've already started strike votes for workers at CRA. Those started at the end of Jan. I'm here with the Parks Canada bargaining team. In bargaining this week. I don't think I can say what we're going to do at the end of the week, but bargaining is also going slow, and we are very close to declaring an impasse. So all these tables combined, the national treasury board tables, the national agency tables, we're talking about a bargaining group of about 165,000. It's the biggest strike the PSAC has built up to since 1991. And we're fighting for a fair wage standard for
That's
our
all we
members
need.
and for all workers. The cost
That's
of living is
all we
skyrocketing, and we need fair wages that can
Of course we do.
Some other important demands that we have at the table are things like anti-racism in the training in the federal public service, setting that standard in the federal public service, the largest employer in Canada, so that standard can be set across all workforces, fighting for better work language, and something particular to the Parks Canada team, an allowance for workers who have to use an Indigenous language as part of their function in the federal public service. Solidarity.